we had worked on yesterday. So you guys can just quickly do a recap of what was done and understand how we got where we are today. So I still haven't checked the Instagram feed, but I do remember that we had somebody mention that we forgot to add the search button. So let's just quickly add that. I'm just gonna search for the search icon. I pressed the letter K to help me scale the assets, and I want to put it at the top, but it has to be placed evenly. So as you can see that the gap between these is 30, so which is fine for us. So I'm just going to put these in auto layout, which is shift A, merging it with the logo on the side, another auto layout, shift A. So now these are centered. I just need to double check and verify that it is in the center of the page, increasing it. So the best part for auto layout is, see, I don't really have to adjust the height of this, sorry, the gap in the middle. It does that for me. So yeah, okay, we did end up having three icons on the right. Okay, yeah, yeah. So, does anybody have any questions around this? What did we do here? Why did we do what we did? Anything like that? Any confusion? Any suggestion you may have for us? Just keep commenting in the chat. Meanwhile, I'll just change some things here to make it look a little more appealing. Okay, I think I had logged some of this. Yeah, I had logged the second layer. Just gonna remove the sponsored tag from here. Uh, okay. Yeah. I think the corner radius that we had given was 6. All right. So this is about it. Does anybody have any questions around this? Follow button after the name. Okay, so I think we can add this. I can just use this as our follow buttons placeholder. So I'm just going to remove the background for this. Follow. Change the color for the text. Now I need to decrease the size of this a little bit just to make it a little easier to read. Okay, and now I need to map it with this. I need it close to the name, so I'm just gonna move this up, reduce the gap between these two. I think the gap could be 10 pixels. Now I want this to be aligned with this particular line, the name here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this auto layout and I'm going to add another auto layout, shift A again, and this time I'm going to add margins and increase that. Okay, yeah. So now I have a follow button also. Is there any backend requirement for UI UX? No, I mean, as you get, experience in the industry, as you work with multiple teams, be it tech or, any other team, so you will get to know the ins and outs of what needs to be done or what is expected out of you. But it's nothing that you cannot handle. I mean, it's a gradual curve of learning for that. Search button in bottom. No, we're not keeping search button in bottom. We have kept it on the top. Uh, like adding stories to profile. Yeah. Okay. So I guess this is all. Let's just move on to the day two of this. In the first day yesterday, we covered homepage. We were trying to cover the login page, but I think we couldn't. We did not have enough time. Let's just see how many pages we can cover today. So we have login, we have stories, explore, and profile. I think we can just quickly cover these three. Stories should not take a lot of time, and neither should explore. Profile will take a lot of time, so I just request you guys to kind of keep on thinking about what all features or what all information points do we need to have in the profile page. For example, in your profile page, you of course have to have your profile picture, of course. You also need to have your username, your bio, and so on. So I don't need you guys to comment about this just now. We are going to focus on stories, but just think about it. So it kind of like, saves some time for us. But as of now, let's focus on stories. So I would just request you guys to start dropping in messages about what all do you remember being in the stories page for Instagram. Again, do not refer to the Instagram application. It is uh, all about recalling how many or what all features can you remember from the application. What is the recall value for that? So just by memory, what all features do you remember from the stories page design? Meanwhile, I'm just creating some hygiene elements like the status bar. How can I add a border around a circular image without removing the image fill and without the border affecting or moving the image? Okay. Do you mean something like this? So this is an image, and I'm guessing that you want to add a border to this particular image without making a copy of this or without hampering the solid fill of this particular image. So you can just select it, go to strokes, and add any sort of border that you may want. You can choose for the border to be in the center, on the inside, or on the outside. Let me just increase the stroke so you can see it a little bit better. This is the outside effect, this is inside, and this is center. So you can always change or kind of manage what you want to do with the solid fill part. Increase the opacity, reduce it. That is up to you. uh, I hope this helps. Okay, yes, guys, what all do we see when we view a story page? Okay, so we have an option to create a name on top, sticker, a line showing how much story is completed, stories feed, create story button, stickers. Okay, all right. So I should have specified we are talking about the page in which we see the stories. So there is a progress bar that kind of tells you how many stories are there. I think it's better if I just make these boxes rather than sketching them this time. So you have these certain boxes which kind of tell you that you have three stories, and then there is a close icon. And I think right under it, I'm not sure if the close icon is placed here or is it placed here. We're just gonna keep it on the top, and then you have uh, the person's ID, and their username is placed here, and maybe a timestamp. This seems important that this person with this username posted. You get your stories, right? And then you have an option uh, to maybe type something, and you have an option to send that. Okay, I don't think it's supposed to look like that. Okay, yeah, it's more of a send button. And yep, I think this is what a typical stories page looks like. I mean, then you have multiple gestures. If you swipe up on any particular story, I think you get a box or like a couple of options, emoji shortcuts probably to give a quick input on the story. Or when you tap on share, you get a bunch of options that you want to add it to your story, your own story. You want to share it with a couple of people, you want to share it outside Instagram, stuff like that. So do you think if there is anything uh, on this page that we can add that maybe Instagram does or does not do, but you think it might be of value? Privacy settings. No, that is stories settings. So that is not where we are at today. Okay, but I want the image and border to be separate layers but still perfectly aligned. Okay, in that case, you can just make a copy of this so that there are two layers. Let's call this image one. Let's call this border. Actually, you don't need to call it image one then. So this is your image, this is your border. I'm selecting the border right now, going to the design panel, hiding the solid fill, clicking on stroke, adding stroke on the center, and that's about it. Your outline and your image are separate. If you want to double check that your alignment is okay or not, you just select both these images on the right hand panel. You have an option to position them and align them centrally or however you want them to. So, yeah. Like button. Okay. All right. I think we can keep a shortcut for a like feature. Makes sense. Oh, sharing story on others' ID. I mean, after mentioning someone, they can also share our story on their stories. Yeah, again, that is more of an action that is performed by clicking on this particular button. So I think right now, just for this particular page, I think we are good to go. Let's just work on the UI bit now. Okay, so I'm just gonna make a copy of my original design, call it stories. I think this was supposed to be homepage. So I have my status bar, and now, so all of your design elements come under your status bar. So I need these three indicators to help me understand how many stories has this person posted. And because all of my design is slightly curved, so that is what I want to do with this also. And I'm just gonna remove this from here and adding auto layout to these three elements. Okay, so what I've done here is, if I can just show you. So if I'm reducing the size of my frame, you can see that the three rectangles are readjusting their width based on the height, the width of this particular frame. But let me just give you a different approach, or tell you why auto layout is better. So you can see that the gap between these three containers is 3. And if I increase or reduce the size, the gap between them changes as well. But that is not what my intention is. I want the gap to be consistent, and I want just the rectangle bars to be changing, the shape and size. I want, for the sake of visibility or clarity, I want this gap to stay consistent. So what I've done is I've selected the three rectangles that I have, added them in auto layout. Now for each of these rectangles, I went to their layout properties, and instead of fixed width, I added a I checked fill container. So whatever the width of my container will be, the elements will adjust accordingly. Now let's just take uh, an instance where I keep it fixed width. Now what will happen if I readjust my frame? The width of these three rectangles will stay the same. And if I add a minimum width, so I think for minimum width currently they are at 74. If I keep the minimum width at 60, so uh wait, okay, I was supposed to add minimum width to this. uh Wait, I think I did something wrong here. I gotta fill the container, adding minimum width to 200. So if I reduce the width to less than 200, it won't let me. It is stopping me from ruining the design, basically. So these are the type of constraints that we can add on any of the designs that we are making. I'm gonna just go back to fill container, and this should be working fine. Yeah. So now, it is not mandatory for us to show the status bar in all of our pages. So I think this is something that we can kind of decide: do we want to keep the status bar here or do we not? But regardless, I mean, this can kind of adapt to the background color that we provide at the bottom. What we do need is a close button. So I'm just gonna look for a close icon. I'm just gonna keep it right. next to these and within the margin. So my margin is this. So I now know that there were three stories that were added, and this is where I can close it. So I can actually, this alignment looks a little off. I don't know if it's just me or you guys see it too, that this looks a little too much on the top. So maybe you want to bring it down just a little bit. Now I'm going to remove this section, and I think this will be helpful to us. I'm just going to copy it here, remove this follow button, because I think we only see stories from the people of the people we follow, and otherwise sponsored ads in between. So no need to add the follow button unless we are viewing story of somebody who has a public account and we don't follow them yet. But that's not what we are doing. So this will be 2 minutes ago. Now adding the image. So one thing that I was thinking of yesterday that we could, work on was that I don't actually get to know that whose story am I going to see next, right? I think this is something, and often we end up watching a story, or even if like we want to skip it, there is no way for us to be able to skip it. So what we can do is maybe swap these two. So I'll just explain what I am talking about in just a minute. So I'm just gonna uh, put these elements in auto layout so that they are easier to scale. So I've put these in auto layout, copying a couple of them. Okay, all right. And now I'm going to swap them. In order to swap them, I don't need to, uh, there are two options. One, I select two of them, and you can see that there are slight anchors that appear on both the layers. I can just drag one up, or I can just put them in auto layout and move this down. So whatever works for you, we can do that. Now, what I have done here is although I have reduced the story size by, I'm not sure, by maybe 10%, 10-15%, but now I do let the user know that this is the person whose story they are viewing. So, for example, if I'm at or I'm viewing Martin's story, I will be able to see, because there will be some sort of an indicator for this, that this is the person's story that I am watching. It will be showing up like this. Maybe this can be bigger, like this, and also have an indicator like this. I don't know. This seems like a decent choice. Let me know if you guys don't agree with this and why. So it is good to always be questioning, why we are doing what we are doing, to kind of understand that this is the route we want to take. So I'm just gonna see what the maximum width we had taken. It was 341. So that is the same margin we are going to keep in our design, 341. So another thing that we have changed is we don't need the profile information here anymore. Maybe just a timestamp that can be visible somewhere. So I'm just going to curve the corner radius, add an input field which is of 36 pixels height and maybe 250 pixels wide. I want to add a black stroke to this. White with maybe 60% opacity. Curved borders and a text that says type here, dot dot dot, putting it in the center, adding auto layout. And now I need two buttons over here, right? I think one is for like, which is something that we have. I think adding a like button will just reduce the space for typing, and the send button and the like button will be too close to each other. So I don't know. I don't think I am okay with keeping two actionables here. So I'm just gonna keep a send button here if you don't mind. I'm just gonna search for a send button, which looks like this. Yep. Positioning it here. I think this is an auto layout, so yeah, I think I can just bring it to the center. Uh, Maybe add a solid fill to this, and okay, let's see how it will look. I mean, currently it does not look super awesome. Mainly because this is not in square. Sorry, a perfect circle. Okay, so this is what we have right now. Let's see what it looks like after we have added an image. Now I just need to add uh, a timestamp. I think it can be placed on top left. So this was 2 minutes ago. Okay, let's see if we can find a decent enough picture. I think this is a good start. Okay, so I think what the one thing I do need to do here is I need to add some sort of like a gradual gradient, or maybe reduce this somehow. Increase the size here. And okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm selecting the image, adding a solid fill, but this is actually a gradient I'm adding, increasing the uh, opacity to 100%. I want this to be at 0, this to be at 50, and I want to bring it all the way down. Maybe something like this, so that these two buttons are very clearly visible. Or what I can do is I can give this a try and see if it gets me anything. Okay, so yeah, without hindering on the design too much, I've added the input field right on top of it. I am thinking, how about we just give it full width? I think it does look nice. Yes, it is definitely nicer. And if we merge this area, it does give you, more space to kind of view your story. So, yeah, I think this is a good approach. One more thing that we should be aware of is that whenever we are designing any component that has to come on top of your image, any sort of image, uh, it is best to kind of add some sort of effect on this, so that it does not get, too blended with the background. I'll tell you what I mean. I'm just gonna add some sort of shadow around this. Okay, so it might not look like much right now, but if we change the background image, I think you'll be able to see. Let me just look for an image with a white background. Okay, I think this could be it, but it's taking forever to load. I think this is the one we have selected. Okay, let's go with this one. So if I had not added a drop shadow, you would not be able to see this white color. So I'm just gonna remove the drop shadow from here. So again, it's not very clearly visible. And we cannot just select a color that is not white or is a little beigeish, because there will always be a picture which kind of overwhelms your foreground. Is why I added this linear gradient at the bottom, is why I added drop shadow at the top. So I'm just gonna increase the uh, yeah, linear gradient at the bottom. So this is our stories page. And okay, how do you go back to your homepage now? So for instance, I clicked on this story. The layout changes to something like this. So I'm going to need either a global close button or maybe a back button. I think I understand now that this is why Instagram insisted on keeping this at the top. But okay, I think we can find a way out for this. Maybe we can. What I've done is I've reduced the size, the width of my frame, uh, clip content, so that it's only visible up until here. Adding a color to my frame. Okay, I think it's gonna just add that on top, not on top actually. I'm just gonna increase, yeah, because the image was getting a little cut from the top. So I'm going to see if adding the close button here works. Removing it from here and readjusting the size like this. Okay, yeah, this works too. It might not be the most ideal approach, but it is something. I think instead of doing this, maybe we can just have a back arrow here. Both approaches work. And we can also increase the width of this input field here. Okay. Does anybody have any questions around this? How to give the space profile picture with story gradient circle? I'm not sure I follow. Uh, could you elaborate on this? Okay, so I think nobody has any questions around the stories page. What we can do is we can move on to the explore page now. But I'm still hoping that you do have some questions, some suggestions for this particular page. So if you guys want to just take a moment to kind of observe this page, please do that. Okay, all right. So we can proceed to explore page. So I think explore was one of the buttons at the bottom navigation. Okay, so the pages that we are creating, I'm just putting them on one side together. Now we have the explore button. So this is the button that is going to be active now. I'm just removing all the content we had put on top. Now, I think explore page has a search bar on top. Uh, I think it has uh, an option for you to input any keyword that you may want to search for, or I think it has a couple of tags. uh, I think this is probably for accounts. For example, uh, if I searched for earth, I think there is an account called earth pics. And of course, people who or photographers, they do post a lot of content around nature, so they could be using these keywords or this hashtag called earth. So I think second could be a hashtag. And then there are people who may have a handle for this. I think this could be people. I think this will be real, getting a caption from this. I'm not able to recall anything else, but I think four tags for now. Plus, this can be your lorem ipsum dummy content. So, yeah. So, whatever I'm searching for in Explore can be filtered by these results. All right. And of course, then we have this very messy looking grid. I think it is something like this. You have two stacks of posts, and then you have a reel, and I think then this kind of repeats itself in a super messy way. Basically, they are just bombarding you with content after content, which to me seems a little bizarre. This is just way too much content for one person to consume, but that is something that they actively do, and people are responding to that. I'm not sure how, but okay. So I think this is basically what your explore page looks like. So we are going to take this forward, convert this into UI, and change it a little bit in order to kind of make it a little more user friendly. So does anybody have any questions regarding this so far? Uh, a little brief about student ambassador program. I think we can have Anam talk about it, or you can just refer to yesterday's video. In the introduction, Anam did take out 10 minutes to talk about this and how to mark your attendance. Okay, all right. So taking this design forward, I'm just gonna copy the homepage design again because we might be using some of the elements that we designed over there. Uh, okay, so for starters, I'm just gonna retain the search icon. I would want to keep it. Uh, Maybe use, okay, 341 is the margin that we were initially using. And I would want to create a search bar here. So because I had taken the size or the height of my input field as 36, so that is what I'm going to do. Actually, I'm just gonna take all of this, place it here, change the color to black, and make it in center. I also want to add this icon on this. So I'm gonna just call it search via keyword and give it a width of 341. I want it to be spread across the entire page, and replace it with this. So I have my search option, and I think with the search option, we should also give an option to close because search may okay, so I had pressed F on the screen at some point, and you can see that the search for Figma has opened up. So it is a good example on what your search should look like. You have your search icon, you have a text, and then you have an option to filter out or close your search field. But because we don't really want to close this field because it is literally a part of our explore page, so that is something that we're not gonna do. I'm going to remove these two sections, and now I need a couple of tabs. So I can just take this follow button, for example, just gonna bring it up. Now I don't want to use the same shade. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just detach it, go back to a single color and change it to black. Maybe I can reduce the opacity because it's not an active tab right now. Increase the width a little bit, and maybe I can change the text to okay, accounts. This was people hashtag. This can be reels. This can be lorem. I don't know what to call this. So as you can see, if my text is a little too big, I may need to increase the width of my container. But if I do it for one, I should be doing it for others also, because this has to be an even setup, right? So, okay, just gonna increase. So this is kind of a personal choice, honestly. If you want to keep the button size similar for everything, or do you want to keep it different for all of the tag types? I personally prefer to keep them, of the same width, but maybe because the text, this is a smaller space and we need to use all the space we can get. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to increase the margin for from the sides, but I am going to keep different size for all of them. So I think we can keep the gap between them as 12, and I think this is it. We don't need to go beyond this page. If needed, we could have spread it on the sides, but that is something that we don't have to do. Our tag types can suffice within these. So I think this is good to go. Okay, now let's come on to our grid. So I'm just gonna take this as an example and maybe add some text here because now we are on the explore page. So I'm going to change the color to this. This can go back to being black. Okay, this is my active page now. And now we need to create a grid. So I'm going to delete all the unnecessary information because these are just tiles. I don't necessarily need to show when this post was created. I don't need a timestamp for that. So I'm just gonna add a random size to this. So we have an option. We can either bombard the user with information like this, or we can just place big images with the, a very neat and tidy distribution between them. So, okay, I'm just going to increase the size just a little bit. Okay, I think this is 342. It is going to be a little tricky to have an image or an asset cover this much space in odd numbers. So, okay, the gap between these two is 8. I want the gap between these two to be, wait, I think, okay, they have a gap of 14. I'm going to just reduce it to 12. The gap between these two is also 12. Okay, so I think this makes a perfect alignment. If I add them or if I select them together, so you can see that the horizontal and the vertical gap is 12, which is great. But now I do need to know that whether this is a post or this is a reel. I mean, looking at it, it does make sense that this is a reel, but I still need to give some sort of an indicator to the user. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just search for a play icon or a video icon, which lets the user know that this is a video or a reel. I can just place it, yeah, top left or top right. I think top left should be a better option. And I think these are, yeah, these are in auto layout as well. I'm just going to reduce the margins for both of them. And okay, so size for this is 164, 160. So they're not perfect squares, but they're getting the job done. So I'm just going to remove this 164, 160. This was 6 was the corner radius for this, and aligning it to the bottom. Now I need another indicator. I need a different image here, and I need another indicator to know if this is a carousel post or a simple post. I think for a simple post, we don't really need an indicator whatsoever. But for a carousel post, I think we need an icon that shows multiple images. I think something like that. This looks like an icon for copy. I'm not sure. I think this is something similar uh, to what Instagram is doing right now. I think this is what it does. Regardless, I think this does show that there are multiple files here. So that is something that I'm going to go ahead with, aligning it centrally with this, reducing the outlines or reducing the size overall, going back to pixels, looking for an image. I think we can use a little colorful image this time, something like this, and maybe this. Okay, so now I can see that these are my images. So again, we will need to add some sort of a drop shadow to this. So what we can do is select the vector itself and uh, maybe 1 and 2. Yeah. So this is one, adding the same to this, removing the clipping mask from these so that my shadow does not get cut. So if you can see the difference before I had clipped the content. Okay, yeah. So if you can see that the shadow is getting cut here, but if I remove the clipping mask, the shadow is able to spread out evenly outside the container. So that is something that we are aiming primarily. Okay. Now I can just replicate this, move it to the bottom, bring it back, and all I have to do is swap this now. So I hope everybody is able to follow this. We're gonna change the images a little bit so that your design looks a little more lively. Okay, I think I will need to remove the margins from here, which was my apprehension for this. And so whenever you get stuck in auto layout, this is something that is kind of a cheat code. So I would not want you guys to get into this. And because right now our primary focus is not to, you know, learn auto layout in depth. So I'm just going to tell you about this. So whenever your auto layout has an element that you're not able to, locate at its right place, you can just isolate that particular element, and it will change its icon in the layers panel, and then you can basically move it wherever you want to. So again, a cheat code, but not necessarily the best practice. But if you are in a bind somewhere, so I think this is something that you can try out. I'm going to add the corner radius to 6, adding one last image over here. So yeah, this is what your feed will, your explore section will look now. So I'm going to just quickly add it here as well. Call this page explore and zoom in. As you can see, it is a lot less cluttered as compared to what we see on the explore page right now, which is just too heavy. I mean, there's just so many things that are going on that particular page. I, often do get stuck on that page a lot. So, just to recap, we have completed our stories page and explore page. Now, I think I'm just going to head back to the comment section, see if you guys have any queries. What is lorem ipsum? Okay, so there is a site, lipsum.com, LIPSUM. So basically, this is dummy content. Whenever we are working on a design and we don't have a content, with us, or maybe from the content writer, or maybe we're just creating a generic design and we don't really know, because we're not content people, we are design people, right? So what you can do is, just an example, I had to write something over here. So Jeanette Spencer posted this image and wrote a caption with this. So I had two options. I could either write something on my way to climb up the highest of the mountains, wish me luck, or I could have gone to this site, copied this text, and pasted it here. Lorem ipsum is simply, sorry, not this line. This is the descriptive line. This is the main content. Lorem ipsum, the lore sitamit. This is Latin. This is what people have been using as dummy content when you don't have actual content handy. You use this so that people know that this is where the content is supposed to go, because you have put dummy content over here. So whenever you're in a bind or you don't really know what to put, you can use lorem ipsum, but I would highly suggest that you don't. Just make an effort to write something super simple. That's okay. It doesn't need to be, highly, extremely relevant, grammatically correct. I mean, you have ChatGPT, Perplexity for that to help you come up with the design. Uh, so another thing that you can do is, I don't know how many of you have been using AI tools for content creation, content writing specifically. But if I have completed this design and I have lorem ipsum over here, I can just feed this design or import this design in ChatGPT and ask it to give me relevant content for this. So I'm sure that it will give you content for this and this and this and all the names, even if you ask it to. So try not to add lorem ipsum in your designs when you're showcasing it, because although it is a very common design term, not a lot of people who are not in the industry would know about it, and they would try to understand what is this text about. So let's not confuse the end user, whoever it may be. It may be the person who is reviewing the design or who is digesting the design. It has to be contextual, and content establishes context. So yeah. uh The site is LIPSUM, Lorem Ipsum. Any other questions, guys? We have some time today. All right. I think we can quickly squeeze in a design for login page as well. So for that, I'm not going to create a wireframe because this is going to be a very, very basic primary level design. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just keep a placeholder for an image over here. Okay, I'm just going to remove the status bar because I feel it's going to probably uh, not help in my design. I'm going to create another box which is going to act as an overlay. So I'll tell you, I have something particular in mind. I'm going to give it corner radiuses on only the top two sides. So if I change the color to this, you can see that the corner radius has only been curved for the top two sides. How did I do this? Select, go to appearance, and these four individual corners added 30 and 30 to the top left and right corners. Okay. Now I need to add a text which says sign up with Instagram, honest to Instagram. I think sign up, just keeping it super simple. Increasing the size to 24 pixels so that my intention for this page is established clearly. I think 24 might be a little too much. I'm just gonna reduce it to 20. I think 20 is fine. Bringing one of my input fields, but I think because this was an input field, what I'm trying to do is create a button. So I'm just gonna increase the width, the height of this, centrally aligning the text, and maybe reduce the width now. It can be 280. Okay. This one can say sign up via email address. Another button can simply say sign up via Google. Or maybe I can have two buttons that individually say, let me just increase the size. Yeah, sign up via, or it can just say via Google or via Facebook. So I am giving the user three options. They can either sign up via email address, or they can choose the alternate methods, signing up via Google or Facebook. Now, in this situation, I'm just going to see that the gap between them is 12. I can maybe move them at the bottom and add a logo for Instagram here as well. It can be at the top. These three can be evenly aligned to 40 pixels. I think right about here is a bar that you find in most of the phones. I am totally spacing out on what it's called. So right now we're just gonna call it bar. I can increase the size of Instagram logo and bring this down. Go to pixels and search for people. People happy. So, okay. Let's see. I think this is a nice image. I'm just gonna copy it here, and now I will need to add some sort of content in this, right? Uh, uh, live every moment together. Right, again, instead of adding lorem ipsum, I'm trying to set the context. Now I can increase the size for together because that is what I want people to focus on. That is the point of Instagram, that everybody is, aware of what everybody is doing. So adding some sort of typography in this, reducing the line height, maybe adding a thicker, uh, uh, adding more weight to my font, which is extra bold here. And because the overall aesthetic of my application design is simple, I'm not using a lot of colors, a lot of pop colors, bright colors. Wherever we want to use the brand colors, we have used it in a very minimal way as to not overwhelm the user, because the primary focus of this application has to be the images, or whatever content people are posting, be it stories or reels or something. So the pages that are in my control, which is the sign up page, so I've used a slightly muted toned image, and not adding a lot of colors over here as well. Maybe to add some sort of design element around this, maybe I can add some hand drawn graphics around this. So for example, I can just maybe increase, so it can be something like this. I don't know what I'm drawing at this point, but okay, something like this. uh okay, this yeah. So some hand drawn icons. Okay, I think this might be enough, but yeah. So this is the page where the user kind of decides whether they want to sign up via their email and password, or Google, or Facebook. Simple as that. Uh, Another design element, what could be, I'm just trying to fill the empty space over here, reducing the opacity. Yep, yep. This seems fine to me. If you have any suggestions for this page, just feel free to drop in a comment. Happy to know what you guys are thinking. If you are responding, if you're liking the way we have been making the design so far, if you have any suggestion or feedback for me, please do let us know. So these are the pages we have covered so far. Just gonna place them here for you to kind of review, and we can move on to the profile page after taking a breather here. What happens when someone clicks on image if user starts typing? Is the image grid responsive? Yeah, so those are the things that we cover once we start creating each screen in depth. I mean, there are at least 10 interactions happening on one page. So, but we're not covering that because we only have limited time. Today is the last day of the workshop. So, right now we're just creating primary pages. If you have any ideas, if you have any suggestions, I will be sharing this Figma file just for a reference that you can use in your own design. And yeah, you can build on top of this. Add a vertical scroll. I think you're talking about maybe the feed. A vertical scroll is not necessary because in most of the designs, vertical scroll is it only starts to appear when you actually do start scrolling, and even then, it is not just the entire right section is not just one long scroll. It is just a very tiny blip that moves along. So I think that is something that we can not include in the design right now. Provide margin to the content so that it will not be hidden. Okay. Add create new account option in sign up page. Uh, okay. All right. So this was supposed to be sign in or login. Good catch. This is login via email address. And then we have don't have an account, sign up. Okay. So I'm just going to make it extra bold. Yeah, this looks good. Any other suggestion? Okay, let's move on to the next page, which is going to be our profile page. So now let's put our thinking caps on and uh, start writing down what all information do we want in our profile page, which is accessible from the bottom navigation. So I'm just going to create a replica of this, and this time profile page is what is accessible. So this page is going to be 100% driven by you guys. I'm guessing that you may have understood the direction you're supposed to take or is expected out of you, how to decode information and how to map what all touch points we need to keep in any particular design, what information is critical for the user. I think that is something that I am looking at you now to tell me uh, how to create or what all information needs to be present on the profile page. So you guys can just take your time, and it doesn't necessarily need to be the Instagram's profile page. I would suggest that you go to a couple more applications beyond Instagram and do a quick 2 minute search at your level and come back to me and tell me क्या क्या होना चाहिए in the profile page. So you guys can just take a couple minutes and let me know. Just try multiple applications. You can try WhatsApp, you can try any fitness application that you may have, you can try Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever you have, what all information is present on profile and if it is applicable for Instagram or not. Guys, it will be great if everybody can participate in this. Okay, I see a couple of good suggestions rolling in here. Okay, so let's just see what all suggestions have we received so far. Profile picture, username, full name, bio, edit profile, followers, interests, number of posts, number of following, story highlights, editable, okay, accounts, privacy, settings icon, verification badge, phone number, email, links, links. Okay, I think, okay, got it. Contacts, logout, dark mode, light mode, notification, menu, switch between accounts, uh, what is rolling in? Rolling in means that I asked people questions and they started answering. So the messages started to come in. Friends, username, social sites, bio, follower, followers, post, archive option, followers, unfollow. Does Instagram have an option to archive? I'm not sure. Mutual friends, login. Okay, I think this is plenty. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Topper JS channel. I think you've really done your research. Okay, so let's start with our profile page. Now I'm just gonna change the name of this to profile, and I'm going to just uh, go back